All right. All right. I think it's about time. You know, I think it's about time we talk about Leroy. How you guys doing today? My name is Ryan. I'm known as a few other things in the fighting game community, but for all intents and purposes, right now, let's just go as Ryan. I have been in the fighting game community since the late '90s. Been around for a lot of Tekkens, Soul Calibur, a couple Street Fighters, a Marvel or two, um, and some games in between. But Tekken has been one of my main games throughout my entire stay. Like one of the reasons why I got into fighting games as more than just like a little hobby or whatever. And also within the past 5 years, I started picking up Wing Chun Kung Fu. So imagine my surprise at Evo uh, during Grand Finals, or right before Grand Finals, I should say, when they posted up this here trailer for Mr. Leroy Smith. Of course, I'm excited for Zafina as well. She looks better than she's ever looked before. They gave her kind of like the Siegfried my hand thing, which is very interesting to me. But what I'm really interested in is Harada and Michael Murray's attempt to put a Wing Chun practitioner, a Wing Chun master, into a Tekken game, which I thought was going to be very, very difficult because reasons, which I'll go into in another video or something if you guys want. But for now, all I want to do is take a look at this trailer, this little, barely a minute long of Leroy. Take a look at him real quick and maybe dissect what may or may not be in the game, or at least what they show us. They show us a couple of things. So let's get right to it. I put it down to 3/4 speed just so we can kind of slow it down as needed. Okay, so right off the bat, we see the Mukyangjong, which is this here wooden. Oh boy, this is gonna be tough, isn't it? This wooden. It's literally called like the wooden man, the wooden dummy that Wing Chun practitioners use as one of the four forms, the empty-handed forms that you learn. It's used for pivoting around a particular target while getting around these here arms, quote unquote. There's another arm down here, and then lower there is a leg that you can go around as well. So you can go around and maintain your center line, try and protect yourself from where those arm trajectories might go, all while working on maintaining good structure, which is what Wing Chun is all about, relaxation, which is what Wing Chun is all about, and center line, which is the third thing. So we see him doing some pak saos, which is kind of like just placing your hand on center. So like if a person is punching me and I just make contact here and hold center line, they'll eventually go sliding past me just enough. It's not, you're not pushing it out of the way. It's not a parry. It's just like a touch. So he's doing that a couple times. And then he does a little fuksao, Fuksao, which just it's like a probing hand for the most part. You keep it there on top of someone's arm, and you maintain good structure. So you're connected to the ground and everything. You're not necessarily pushing; you're just maintaining. But if you feel that there's an opening, if you're applying forward energy and you feel that there's an opening, boom, you can go right forward the way that he is right now. Yep, boom. And then you do like a little body blow. This is just part of the form, so this isn't anything super consequential. I don't know if it's going to be part of his move set. Who knows? We'll see. Another quick fuksao into a palm strike to the head. Boom, another body blow. Some more pak saos. He's kind of rolling around. He's about to do kind of like a backhand contact right here. Backhand contact, yep. Into, boom, a Quan Sao hit, which is like a lower and an upper. Boom, Quan Sao, rolling around. And then we go into a Zhong Sao, which is ready hands. So it's the hands that you will see any Wing Chun practitioner who's actually getting into stance try to use to kind of like gauge distance and provide them with some form of defense. This is kind of like the measuring stick. This is, when Bruce Lee does this thing or Morpheus or whoever, that's what they're basically doing. It's kind of a different type of Zhong Sao. And yeah, and the backhand is called a Wu Sao. That's the defensive hand. Anyway, so it's very interesting that they are putting these two against a Wing Chun practitioner. One kind of Shaolin Kung Fu, five animal style. Yeah, five animals and drunken boxing. So, like Jackie Chan, who has also practiced Wing Chun a little bit, not much. And then, of course, we have Law, who was taken off of the famous Bruce Lee, who was one of the most famous Wing Chun practitioners. He learned a lot of what he later turned into Jeet Kune Do from Wing Chun. It was like Wing Chun, Taekwondo, fencing, Western boxing, and like one other, like Silat or something like that. I can't remember. But anyway, he kind of cherry picked what he liked from different systems and put them into Jeet Kune Do, brought it to the movies. Everyone was like, oh my God. So just a little bit backstory there. So we go in, boom, Quan Sao again. It's kind of a different one. You have one arm defending down, the other one in, like I said, the Wu Sao, which is supposed to be on center, but a lot of people who are not quite on center have like a more closed stance, which can be detrimental, but in this position where he's so far away, it doesn't really matter. Boom, he meets the two with his double Fuksao, kind of opens him up. I don't know if you could see that. Yeah, he opens him up right here, takes his arm to the side, and he's in a crouching position, so he's pretty much compromised at this point. He has no root, so he can be easily tossed aside. Boom, into a palm strike. Boom. Weird catch thing here with a Tan Sao, which kind of like keeps you on center line and kind of it'll meet other punches just to kind of like keep you there. And as soon as you make contact, that's really what you want with a Wing Chun practitioner, to make contact, and then you can do whatever you need to do to get him out of there. But in this case, he's just catching Law for the most part, so he's just gonna move into like a cradle or whatever just to maintain position. Backhand blow right to the head. Ouch. Plants him in the ground, and then does a very hard hit right under the ribs that can be potentially problematic long term. And then you'll see him go into what we call the Yi Ji Kim Yung Ma, which is horse stance, more or less. He's supposed to have his hips all the way forward, but obviously against a grounded opponent, it doesn't matter as much. You can still conduct quite a bit of power, especially from an upward position. But he still keeps his knees in like a pincer motion so that he can have like good connection with the ground to use his hips to generate power. But anyway, he gets up, stands up, and there is none other than Mr. Feng Wei waiting for him, who uses another form of Northern Shaolin Kung Fu that later became Wing Chun in some areas. Does like a little Tan Sao, come here. Back into a Zhong Sao, forward hand, backhand, just kind of, hips square, shoulders square, just waiting, squared up, literally. Boom. Caught him with, I think that was a Tan Sao? Let's see. Tan Sao, yeah. Boom. Tan Sao into kind of like a Fuksao. Yep. So he lopped him. He caught him, lopped him, like brought him down. Boom. Into a hit. Ouch. And it's like I said, as soon as we make contact, you want to stay. You want to be in there, This is where we like to play, like range 0, you know what I'm saying? So it can be expected that Leroy will most likely be like a close range fighter. I would say that's pretty safe. You can probably expect like a lot of sabakis, maybe a counter, but I wouldn't say as many counters would be in Wing Chun. Maybe, who knows? But I would say more sabakis than anything. Maybe a punch parry. Ooh, okay. So he like I said, made contact with both hands, and he's keeping his elbows in, but his wrists out to kind of guide him. Let's see what he does with it. Ooh, rolls around into a shove. Let's watch that a little bit faster because you can see him do the whole roll thing. Ooh, yes, 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 yes. Into a shove. All of a sudden he's off balance, and as soon as someone is off balance, that's when you go in for the chung choi, or like multiple strikes. You can also call it a fan sao, I guess. Like if we're playing chi sao, if we're rolling, and you get a strike in, and you put them off balance and displace them, like Leroy has just done, like he stepped into his space. You go in for a flurry. Usually it's just a few hits. In this case, it's quite a few hits. Couple body blows into, I think, like a chop to the neck. Boom. Ouch. Chop. Punch. Chop. Ow, ow, ow. That's just, oof. He's trying to put him out immediately. This is like actually pretty decent Wing Chun. Into an elbow, which of course would stun them hardcore. And lines up for the famous 1-inch punch. Now, this 1-inch punch might be different than other ones that you've seen in media, Dragon Ball, Bruce Lee even. Bruce Lee did 2 types of 1-inch punch. I think he did like a 3-inch punch to show that you could generate power from relatively close, and then a 1-inch punch. Both times, he sent his enemies far away from him. Now, to understand why this is happening, why he just crumples like this, you need to kind of understand how energy works. There are 2 ways to deliver energy to people, like to punch people, in other words. There's heavy strikes, and then there is hard strikes. And you have to think of them in the terms of like a train. A train would be a hard strike. It's got an engine behind it. It rams into whatever it's going to ram into, and it's going to keep going until it runs out of power. A heavy hit is more like throwing a rock up against a wall, or a bullet. Like, it'll deliver all the force all at once and then just drop and become limp. You know what I mean? Like, there's no resistance. It's just kinetic energy, done. And that's the kind of energy that he is delivering to Feng Wei's gut right now. So all that energy was just injected into him, and then it has nowhere to go. Because if you hit, let's say you have a baseball bat and you slam into like the ground or like a piece of metal with it, you could possibly break your arms or your wrists because of the energy that travels up into that and right back into you, because it has this conduit, this hard bat to go right back into it. And the first thing that is not hard is your flesh and your bone, and so you break yourself before you break the ground, of course. It's kind of similar to this, to heavy blows. You take away that conduit by relaxing as soon as you hit, and that energy has nowhere to go but to resonate inside the person, and it can cause damage pretty quickly. But that's just a quick explanation as to why Feng Wei didn't, fly away. Like, even in Law's ending video, he does one to Feng Wei and he flies away. And if you're watching Feng's ending, he just goes, whoa, and then attacks him or whatever. But anyway, so that's the 1-inch punch delivered correctly, not for show. And then peace out. And that's Leroy, man. It's going to be very interesting. I'm looking forward to this. If you guys have any questions about Wing Chun or about Leroy, I'm definitely going to be playing him a lot. I'm saying he's going to be my main, but who knows? King's my main right now, but I've been waiting for a Wing Chun practitioner for a long time, man. A long time. So hopefully this will be worthy of a look. Know what I'm saying? But I hope you guys enjoyed. And like I said, if you have any questions, please either leave them below or I will leave my Twitter on the description. Thank you for stopping by. I'm going to be posting on this channel more often. I hope you guys enjoy season 3. I'll see you guys later. Peace out, guys.